Okay. So for our listeners at home, you can't see it, but I am on a live feed right now with Farida Ahmed, the one of the co-founders. Am I getting that right? Of Frying
Yeah.
Pan Adventures. So there will be a video element to this that we'll be able to provide in the show notes if you would like to see. But if not, please feel free to listen. Now, as a foodie, I have been aware of Frying Pan Adventures for many years, and the work that it's doing locally just to kind of go and support a side of Dubai, a heritage that has existed for many years, has been, I think, important in a city that likes to celebrate the new and the fancy. And I don't think that's always the most important part to celebrate. So when COVID came along and restaurants were fully shut down, obviously many friends of mine who are chefs and restaurateurs found themselves without work. And Farida, just to speak to it, because these would be people that you see on a daily basis. Tell us kind of the start of how you wanted to jump in and help the F&B community.
Absolutely, Courtney. First of all, thank you for having me. We started this initiative called Gift a Meal or Stay Home Gift a Meal just around the time of Ramadan. And as you rightly mentioned, during COVID, a lot of the restaurants, the entire food and beverage industry actually took a massive hit. You had people who had to endure pay cuts. You also had people who went through a huge loss of work. And of course, this was applicable to other industries as well. But because we specialize in food tourism, this was especially close to our hearts. So a lot of the older restaurants in Dubai, so in the older part of Dubai, these small hidden gems that we would take people to during our walking food tours were amongst those that suffered the most. And then we also kept hearing about other people who were losing their jobs, who had to again endure pay cuts. And then you have those very unlucky few who were stuck in the city because they were on visit visas looking for jobs. And then they had no way to get back home, no resources, no means of income, very often not even enough money to buy food, leave alone pay utility bills or mobile bills or even rent. And as a team, we then sat down, or rather, we Zoomed, and we got to brainstorming. We said we need to find a way to continue supporting the restaurants that we've loved, that we've built almost family like relationships with over the past 7 years. And we also need to see if we can help our neighbors who have also been affected by COVID. And this is where the idea of stay home, gift a meal was actually born. We said, why don't we reach out to the community, inform them that we have a list of vetted out people who've lost their jobs or suffered through pay cuts or are stuck here on a visit visa. And we then hook these neighbors in need, as we like to call them, with our smaller restaurants. So, what that means is the community gifts meals. We do all the logistics. We call the restaurants, we tell them how many people, what kind of meals. We've curated the menus with them, and then they deliver these meals directly to the people who need them the most once a day. So that's usually an evening delivery. And that's what the concept is in a nutshell.
So you're supporting in two ways. One, people who in the community, are at, just disfortune, and then of course the restaurants themselves are getting business. Who was kind of the first? Did you have a restaurant? I just think because in this season we've spoken so much about, wow, I honestly, this concept didn't exist 2 months ago, and now you've served what? How many thousands of people now?
So far, the community has been very generous and they've gifted us in all 2,571 meals, out of which, over the course of 54 days, we've already delivered, or rather had them deliver 2,156 meals. So this is data as of 27th of June, earlier this week, and we're still continuing it. However, the current funds are going to run out by the 6th of July. So that's just next week.
Okay, so you're leading me right into it then. As a community, how can we come together? What is the best possible way for the community to gift? And then also, if someone is in a place where they can't support themselves, do you still have any opportunities for them?
Yes, we do. So here's how there are several ways you can best support. I mean, if you're looking to support these smaller restaurants, obviously ordering with them directly, avoiding third-party delivery apps. We've all heard that. The other way is to visit our website www.fryingpanadventures.com. Head over to the tab where you will find more information on the Stay Home Gift a Meal, and it's a very flexible program. You can gift as little as three meals that will go to one person, and that's around 70 dirhams. Or we can even customize amounts for you. So we've had people get in touch with us and say, oh, you know what? I don't want to give three meals, but 10 meals is too much. Can I do five or can I do seven? And we say, absolutely, you can. And then as soon as you make your online payment, the money hits our accounts and we directly take that money. There's no commission to ourselves. We transfer it to the restaurants. We believe in prepayment, so we'll make sure we pay them cash beforehand or a bank transfer because that they need that liquidity more than anything else right now. So all the payments are done beforehand. The meals are then delivered every day of the week during the evening. The other way that people can support, I do understand that a lot of us have also had to endure pay cuts. If you are not in a position to help financially, that's absolutely fine. The next best thing you can do is spread the word. Keep spreading it, keep talking about it because you never know, it might just hit someone's computer screen or mobile phone who will be able to help.
No, that's amazing, and I think that so often people think they can't do anything, but we all, and that's the whole point of this podcast. We all have networks built in, and
Exactly.
it's something as simple as, and I don't know when this is going to air. Everyone seemed to realize yesterday, June 30th, that they had Kareem points left over, and like it took over the city. That everyone started,
Yes.
instead of buying points, they donated all of their extra points to fund meals and to fund schools, and it's true CSR. Like you said, though, I wouldn't have known unless a friend had posted about it, and it was something very
Yes.
easy to do.
I completely agree. And Courtney, we live in a city, Dubai, it's a very blessed place. And honestly, I don't know about anywhere else in the world, but in this city, there is no excuse for anyone to go hungry.
No, I absolutely agree with that. Now, I know it's been a short amount of time, but I do like to ask guests, do you have a favorite memory or do you have a family or restaurant where the impact was something you weren't expecting? Just something, talk us through, because it feels good to talk about this, but I like specifics. I like to know maybe one family
Sure.
that was impacted or one restaurant that was impacted.
So as far as the stay home initiative is concerned, I'm going to tell you about a person actually. He's a manager at a restaurant in the city, and over Twitter he heard about this initiative, and he reached out to my sister Arva and myself, and he said, "Look, I know you're doing this. I would love to gift a meal to my team because they've all currently lost their jobs. They haven't been receiving any pay for 2 months. The restaurant is shut down because the landlord is not willing to negotiate on rent. Uh, my staff is going hungry." And it was a very moving story because while he was typing it to us, he mentioned that he was, in tears because he just didn't know how to help his team. So we said, all right, you know what? Let's see what we can do. We went back, we checked our accounts to see how many meals. We reached out to him and we said, yes, we can help you. Send us the address details, send us the number of staff you have, and we will get them into our program. And now we are delivering meals to them every evening. And it was very heartwarming because even now he will send us messages that he has his team WhatsApp group going on, and they send him messages saying, "Thank you so much, sir. You've really saved us. We don't have to worry about at least one meal in a day. You're the best." And he just writes to them and he's like, "This is not just me. The entire community is involved." And he's just been so grateful to us. But honestly, it's the community. It's the community that banded together and decided to dig deep into their pockets. We're very, very generous, and this is why we're able to make it happen.
It was that story, actually, I think, that I saw on Twitter that made me
Yeah.
aware of the campaign because I think, like you said, the worst thing, my husband leads a small team, not in food and beverage,
Yes.
but he does lead a small team. And I know he would be devastated if to think about something as simple as where my next, where your next meal is coming from, that's
Yes.
devastating. And, we don't, if anything, the past 2 months have taught me never take anything for granted. I think a lot of people now really kind of abide by that.
Yes.
So how many restaurants are delivering right now? Like I'm just fascinated by the nitty gritty of this because I
Sure.
love also too, and I think it's important to point out that by putting the money in the bank accounts ahead of time, because where are restaurants going to get the food to supply their
Exactly.
customers?
Exactly.
They need to know that it's going to be there so they can make that transaction complete.
Absolutely. I mean, you have to think these things through. It's not good enough just to say, all right, we're going to get meals from you. You have to make sure you pay them. As I mentioned, liquidity is key, and they have to buy those ingredients. They have to pay their staff as well. So currently, we have four wonderful restaurants supporting us. We have Khoidar Al Nabulsi, based in Dera, and we actually feature this restaurant on our Middle Eastern food pilgrimage tour. Well, at least pre COVID, we did.
Yeah.
We also have Sin Punjab, located in Meena Bazaar in Par Dubai, which we feature on our Little India on a plate tour. We then have a restaurant called Tawassul, which used to be on our tour. It burned down, never really reopened, but they do have a licensed kitchen, and they will be opening up a new restaurant facility soon. So super excited about that. And then the fourth one we featured, thanks to popular demand, Ravi's.
Oh, there you
You
go.
remember that was going
Yes.
around on
Mm-hmm.
Twitter? So people reached out to us and they were like, look, is there any way that you can bring Ravi's on board as well? Because we want to support them. And yes, so we reached out to Ravi's as well. And these are the four restaurants that we're working with to deliver meals to, I want to say, 52 neighbors who really need it the most.
That is just incredible. It makes me so happy. Do you see it expanding? Are within the means now of what you have? Is four kind of a good number between who needs it and who can provide it?
So here's the thing with the team as well. Every other week or so, we check back in with all the recipients to see if their situation has changed, whether it's improved, whether the status quo remains, just to make sure that the meals are really going out to people who need them. So, with the lockdown being lifted, the economy kicking back up into gear, a lot of people are resuming work. So they may now be able to take care of themselves. In terms of expansion, there are still a lot of people. We are aware of people who are currently homeless, sleeping out in parks. Again, people who still have no hope for even getting a job. So, what we keep doing is if we hear of any of these people, we contact them. So, our team actively contacts them, finds out. But it is all based on the funds that we received. And again, as I mentioned earlier, currently the funds are due to run out. We have enough to supply meals till the 6th of July. That's 5 days away. So in 5 days, um, either we're going to see more generous contributions coming in, but if that does not happen, we're going to have to reach out to these 52 people and unfortunately let them know that we may not be able to continue this.
Okay. Well, I'm optimistic. If the past 2 months have shown
It's
me
crossed.
anything, it's that
Oh,
the
yes.
community will step up. I have to believe that. There's so many amazing things happening that make me so
Yes.
proud to call this my home. That people, you just see it every day, and sometimes people post about it. Sometimes it's a personal thing or a personal choice. And I think that there's so many ways that you can help. And again,
Absolutely.
just saying I can give 3 meals in a week that to a person who wouldn't have that before. Incredible.
Exactly. Exactly.
And so for you though, for Frying Pan Adventures, so when was your last tour
Oh
officially?
my God. My last tour was, and I think that was the last tour for the entire team, March 18th, I think it
That's
was.
it's My birthday was March 17th and I turned
Yeah.
40, and I was like that was the
Yeah.
end of everything basically. And
I,
you
yeah.
don't realize it's happening when it's happening. So in a way, as much as I hope the focus here today is obviously to support those people who don't have food
Yes.
and the
Yes.
system, if we wanted to help Frying Pan Adventures, how could we best do that?
Oh my God, so many ways. Thank you so much for asking that. So, we do have a few initiatives going on. One is we've just launched an e-version of our guide to the Dubai Spice Souk. So it's this little online booklet which gives you access to 74 different spices and what they're about. So you can absolutely buy that off our website. A more fun thing, though, if you want something a little bit more interactive, sign up for one of our games of Spingo. So this is our version of bingo but with added spice and masala. So the way the game works is there is a game master. We provide each player or every team with a digital spingo card, which means instead of numbers there are names of spices, and all you need are acute listening skills. As your game master calls out spices, you cross them off, and then there are prizes awarded for the first line horizontally, vertically, a full spice rack, which is a full house. And
I love
we,
it.
yeah, and we like to throw in challenges along the way. So there'll be little puzzles and quizzes. And of course, as we talk about the spices, we'll actually show you pictures of those spices that we've actually taken from the spice souk. So you're also getting, besides the fun element, you're also actually getting to learn a lot more about these spices. So it's a great activity to do with your friends, with your family, or even for a team building event. And tickets are as low as 50 dirhams approximately for one Zoom screen.
Amazing. So when I know it's like the big question, when do you think you'll be getting back out in the streets?
So we really hope, anyhow, during summer, it's a little difficult to do food tours. There are not too many people who want to get out there and walk. But we are hoping that once the weather starts to get cooler, we will be able to get back out on the streets. I know everyone keeps throwing out the word new normal. I am going to as well. We will have to, of course, adapt our tours to make sure that we comply with government mandated safe distancing, restaurant hygiene. And in fact, starting this week and next week, our team is actually going to be going back and redesigning a few elements just to make sure that everyone feels comfortable getting out on the streets and visiting all these old restaurants with us.
And what I would impress upon people listening or watching is that, okay, we might be stuck here in Dubai, but what a better time than to see a part of the city that I think is often neglected. And so you could still do a little trip, if you will, see a place.
Absolutely.
Your team is so knowledgeable. If there's any
Thank you.
photographers out there, I know you guys have like a whole photography element, but I just can't
Yes.
impress upon people enough that yes,
Yes.
there's the beach and the beach clubs, and that's important for getting out. But it's also
Of
so
course.
important to get into a part of the city that's always been there. But this is a great way
Yes.
to learn more about it. So for people listening, once it does cool off, I think it's the right time to go, all right, we're not getting on a plane, but we can cross the creek and we can kind of see what's down there and have a delicious
Exactly.
meal and get a little exercise at the same
Yeah.
time.
And that's the key.
Um,
It's delicious food at pocket friendly prices.
Yes, yes. Well, thank you so much. Is there anything that we can add today? I think you've covered a lot of the points. I hope people's takeaway is that support the restaurants, support the people who can't feed
Yes.
themselves. This is a gift that you can give within the community that really benefits so many different elements. You're helping two in one, and how many times or how many different ways do we have the opportunity to do that?
True, true. No, as I said before, it's okay if you are not financially able to contribute. If you can't, all you need to do is just help us by spreading the word, just to make sure that we can keep supporting the restaurants and we can keep helping the people who really, really need it right now.
Yeah. And to any media listening, please, I am sure that Farida and her team are open for interviews and, other coverage because, again, I think we live in this time of news cycles and people think, oh, well, I did that one time. Well, keep doing
And
it.
it's done.
Keep it out there. We wish you the very best. We hope that, you reach 5,000 or 3,000 or whatever your next
Thank
target is.
you.
And thank you to you and your team for starting this incredible initiative and all the best.
Thank you so much, Courtney.
Cheers.